Can you tell us something about the composition process for games? You just mentioning some things about it, but can you give more detail about it?
So what the production of Horizon Zero Dawn changed for my process is that theme writing is still the same, right? You can approach it from a classical point of view. I still like to just start with a piano and try to write a theme or a leitmotif for a person, for a character in the game. And I like to just always start with a clean slate. So no templates for me, no big orchestral templates. Also because the briefing for Horizon Zero Dawn was like, we want everything to be close. We don't want big orchestra sounds, reverberant. We want you to stand in between the instruments. And then you are already forced to try to work with live instruments more than with samples, because you know, all the percussion libraries that you get are really wet, are really reverberant, and you have to break them so much that they sound a little bit drier. So yeah, there was a change because for me, I hadn't worked so much with live stuff yet. Didn't record so much of my own stuff, but yes, that game changed a lot. So I'm very glad that I have a studio. No, let's say it differently. My wife is really glad that I have a studio outside of the house with all the mess that I have. So yeah.
So you recorded also quite a lot of instruments yourself, percussion instruments.
Yeah, yeah, from my studio, and also the large stuff, the large instruments that we recorded. We recorded from the studio from the percussion group. Yeah.
Yeah, there's an interesting story about it. Can you tell me something more about that?
You mean the Japanese drum? The group that we recorded the percussion with is Circle Percussion, and that was a group that I played with for 10 years. It's a Japanese percussion ensemble, and we did tours with Japanese and African and Western stuff all mixed together. They have a unique collection of instruments, and yes, I knew immediately that I wanted those drums. And I took the people from Guerrilla Studios to that studio, and they were like, yes. Because to sketch how big the drum is, it's 1 meter and 80 centimeters diameter, 2.5 meters deep, and 2.5 meters high as well on the stand. So when we were investigating a recording location, every recording location was scratched because the doors weren't big enough for the drums to fit through. So we had to record everything in the rehearsal studio from Circle Percussion.
And acoustics were good enough to do so.
Yeah, they were big enough and dry enough. I mean, such a big drum moves so much air. Yeah. We recorded the drum with I think up to 7 microphones. And it's just, and not necessarily put the microphones on a place that you don't have any, how do you call it, sync issues. So afterwards it was moving all the microphones, that everything was in there, because it sounded really bad. When I got it at first, I was like, oh no, what did we do? But then when I aligned all the tracks, it was perfect. We walked around the drum with a microphone and just listening, and we hitting it. And just, okay, this is a nice bell of sound. We are going to put a microphone here and on the ground. And yeah, we recorded it in a lot of different velocities as well. So hard with not so much gain, and really soft with really high gain. So that you feel the air from the skin. And to give you an example, one of the Guerrilla people took a candle, and he was standing on the other side of the drum, and I hit it and I blew out the candle. So that is how much air is produced from that. Yeah.
Can you let us know more about the difference, for example, for composing for a AAA a game and an independent game, for example? Do you have like two different ways of thinking about the music?
No, not necessarily. I mean, every project gets the same treatment. It's just the matter of time that you have. For a AAA game, you are, especially for Horizon, I was called in 2014, begin 2014, and the game shipped in 2017. So you have a very long process of working with the people and also correcting a lot of stuff. I mean, it's very nice if you write something and it's spot on immediately, but the stakes were very high for the game. You know, it's a game that no one saw coming, more or less, and it had to be perfect. Music had to be perfect. So you write stuff, and then you rewrite stuff, and then you kill another piece, and then you get to something that is acceptable.
Just between us, do you play a lot of games yourself?
Yes, of course. Yes.
So you have to play all the scenes to see if they are going well, if the music is in the right parts or not?
No, I try to play as much games with 2 6-year-old boys in the house. That's a bit of a problem, but I try to play as much as I can. Yes. So my Nintendo Switch is the one that I can carry everywhere. Yes, it's burning. No, now it's important to stay in touch with what is happening on the outside, and not just games. I mean, like TV shows as well, and movies as well. I mean, there are a lot of composers that invent something or have a certain production value that that is, I mean, stellar, and you want to learn from it. So analyzing other people is really important in games and in film.